Little Emmanuel was never seen. Ever. Ever.
Ever since day one in the Emmanuel Haro case, there has been one question that I really want answered. And it's crazy to me that we are this far along in the case and we still don't have an answer for that question. And that question is, when's the last time someone saw Emmanuel? You would think that we would have an answer to this question by now. You would think that it would be easy for someone to come forward and say, hey, I saw Emmanuel on this day. I spent time with Emmanuel on this day. I thought that at the very least we would hear from the grandma, and the grandma would say, hey, I came and saw Emmanuel on this date. But it turns out the grandma has never seen Emmanuel a day in her life. The grandma never met Emmanuel. Half of Rebecca and Jake's family, they never saw Emmanuel. So, not much help there. But then I got to thinking, well, if the family hasn't seen Emmanuel, surely maybe the neighbors, right? Maybe someone in the neighborhood can remember, they can remember the last time they saw Jake and Rebecca leave the house with Emmanuel. Maybe Rebecca goes on walks with her stroller. We know that she goes on walks with her stroller at midnight for whatever reason. Maybe she takes Emmanuel on walks around the neighborhood. I don't know, right? Well, I've been wanting to, we've heard from a couple of neighbors that don't know anything, and I've been wanting to hear from more, and it looks like On the Tira was actually out in the neighborhood, asking questions, looking around, and for the most part, no one in the neighborhood has ever seen Emmanuel. There's one lady that believes she may have seen him before, but I don't think the child she's talking about is even Emmanuel. Maybe it is, but for the most part, it's like no one has ever seen this kid. And, I've been talking about the fact that I believe that Emmanuel was being hid from the world for a very long time because Emmanuel was getting hurt at home, right? That's what I think. And law enforcement said during their press conference that they believe that Emmanuel, was going through, all types of abuse leading up to his death. Basically alluding to the fact that they don't believe that whatever caused Emmanuel's death, they don't believe that was the only, terrible thing that Emmanuel experienced while living with Jake and Rebecca. They believe that there was ongoing horrible things happening to Emmanuel, and eventually Emmanuel succumbed, he couldn't take it anymore, and he passed away from the abuse. It hurts my heart to even think about that. But when you hear that, and then you hear all of these excuses Rebecca has made to not bring Emmanuel places, for people not to see Emmanuel, and then you hear that neighbors haven't even seen Emmanuel, no one's seen this baby, it just makes you wonder, what was Emmanuel going through in that home? I don't even want to think about it, but you kind of have to when covering a case like this one. But as I mentioned, On the Tira was in the area. I want to go ahead and roll the clip of him out there talking to some of the neighbors and stuff, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Ahmed Belloso here at Emmanuel Haro residence. You can see here the people still at the memorial. The train has entered the chat. We're going to tell you fine folks at home the entire story about Ramona Street, 5008 on the Tira. Jake, Emmanuel, and Rebecca Haro lived here in that house where the American flag was at. Jake used to live in this house a few years back. Probably when he got with Rebecca, he ended up moving into the main house, and the mom with her stepfather moved into this house, and that's the shed right there. People on this quiet community here have noticed a difference on the Tira. Little Emmanuel was never seen, ever. ever. On the tira. Residents on the block say they didn't even know that he was born. These neighbors here tied into those neighbors there. The house that caught on fire, very suspicious and very, very peculiar indeed. Now, does it tie into Emmanuel somehow? Because people were saying that it was closed in the dumpster, que no sé qué. Those stories cannot be confirmed. The stroller has entered the chat. Originally, the stroller was there where the American flag is at, behind the tira, homie. Neighbors throughout here are upset because these fools were tied into the fools that burned their house down. A lot of activity, all hours of the night. And so maybe this incident here disrupting other business here, and so you can understand now why people will get upset when you can no longer do what you want to do. But guess what? You know who doesn't get to do what they want to do? Emmanuel Haro. Dispensa on the tira. This is what the Bearcat would have seen as it drove here into this fence, and palo on the tira, homie. The address 50008 Ramona, Cabazon, California. The casino has entered the chat. Little Emmanuel lived here on the tira. Jake's mom lives here, but there's more. Check this out. This is the gate we all remember seeing where the Bearcat came in, and hola! The gate came tumbling down. Even the American flag that was posted up has left the chat, homie. People don't know that Jake Haro has people, familiares, that live in this complex here. Oh, there it goes there. So your name is?
Lori.
Lori from Cabazon, California.
Yes.
How long have you lived here, Lori?
Since September
This year?
of this year.
Oh. Have you heard of what happened over at the Haro residence?
Yes.
And how has that affected you?
It affected me in the long run because I've got kids myself,
Mhm.
and I don't see how anybody can hurt a child.
Did you ever see Jake or Rebecca Haro?
No.
So you never seen Emmanuel?
No.
Mhm.
I might have seen Manuel because I seen a little boy over here named Manuel
When?
when she used to live here.
Who lived here?
His sister.
Jake's sister lived here?
Yeah.
Do you know when she moved?
She moved about like 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh,
Maybe longer.
Okay, so there is a connection to this property
Yeah.
and the Haro family.
Yeah.
Do you know where they moved to?
No, I don't.
You never seen the sister come back through here again?
No.
Do you know anybody else here that might know Jake? Or
No.
Okay. So how did it affect you again? Tell us. Like now after they have been arrested.
I'm glad it happened because the simple fact that it's like now justice will be served. Now if they can only find the body so Manuel can get his
Peace on this earth.
Peace. Then I'll be more happier. Much happier.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Now, personally, I don't think the woman he just talked to ever saw Emmanuel. Maybe she thought she did, but it was a different kid. Because we have to remember, Emmanuel was 7 months old when he was reported missing. So even if she did see Emmanuel, she said that Jake's sister moved away 4 months ago, maybe even longer. So Emmanuel would have only had been maybe a month or two old, maybe. So I don't know if we could really rely on that as a last sighting of Emmanuel. But the point is, no one has seen this kid, not even family. And I get looking at the neighborhood, maybe this is not an area where Rebecca is going to be strolling around the neighborhood with Emmanuel. but you would think someone would have seen something. And the neighbors, they've come out upset about people being outside of Emmanuel's home and stuff. So it's not like they don't peek out the windows and look around. And from my understanding, from what Ahmed was trying to say, is that a lot of the neighbors, they were getting upset about all of the attention on the street, not necessarily because they're trying to live peaceful lives, but because they have their own dirt that they're doing. And when you got cops constantly showing up and you got TV cameras out there rolling and live streams rolling, it kind of hinders what they have going on. And I've covered stories like this before, where people gather outside of someone's home. And I've covered stories like this that happened in peaceful neighborhoods. And the neighbors would really just get pissed off because they live this quiet, peaceful life. Next thing you know, there's an angry mob on your street every day yelling and screaming outside of someone's house. This case is a little different. It feels like, there was shady stuff going on around Emmanuel's house, and people are kind of ticked off because now they got to put their shadiness to a stop because of all of the attention going on. And, we saw the neighbor's house that I guess was a home that they were allowing home. I don't even want to go there. The neighbor's house got burned down. What in the hell was going on in the neighbor's house prior to that? I don't know. Apparently people could just go and stay there willy-nilly if they wanted to. So that property got burned down. So there seems to be a lot going on in the area. But just, the fact that there is a lot going on in the area, usually you would think, hey, maybe someone saw Emmanuel. But nothing. Nothing as of yet. And I think this just further proves that maybe my theory is correct, that Emmanuel was kind of hidden from the world because Emmanuel was getting hurt at home. How many times did Emmanuel even see the light of day? And I don't know how to explain it, but part of me just feels like Jake and Rebecca going down for killing Emmanuel, that's not enough. Getting punished for murder is simply not enough. I wish there was a way they could be, I don't know how to explain it like I said, but we're focused on the fact that Emmanuel was killed. Obviously, I understand why. But just think about what Emmanuel was going through on a day-to-day basis leading up to that happening. And as I explained earlier in this video, law enforcement believes that it was ongoing harm being caused to this poor child. And I just wish there was a way they could be punished for that as well. Not just for ultimately taking Emmanuel's life, but for the misery and the torture they put that child through leading up to whenever that happened. Because it looks more and more like they just kept the baby away from everyone. Probably because you would see visible marks, visible bruises, visible neglect. So I just wish there was a way that they could be held accountable, not just for killing that kid, but for everything that led up to it as well. I hope neither one of them ever see the free world, ever touch grass again. But for now, I want to hear from you guys. What do you all think about this? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.